Oh, hi, Mark. I turned into a vampire. It's a long story.
Do I say welcome back? I don't know. Welcome back to the end of the reel. It's only been about 3 years.
Well, yeah, I guess. Well, we did that whole YouTube version for a while.
But
So
what-
it hasn't,
Yeah?
for just the audio, I guess it's been 3 years.
Well, we're back,
Yeah.
and we just watched The Pope's Exorcist. Yeah.
Yeah. Great film.
Great film. I'm not really sure it was the best, bad film. It's not rated well. We understand why it's not rated well, though.
Yeah.
But for someone like us, we'll just give our ratings right away, and then we'll get into spoilers. But as a film out of 5, I really enjoyed it. It's quite a fun action/horror/ even a little bit of comedy. I wouldn't call it comedy in it. It's got comedy aspects. I'd say it's like a 3 out of 5. It's pretty entertaining.
I'd give it
for
a
me.
3.5 out of 5.
Yeah, it's really
Russell
fun.
Crowe bumps it up a whole half a star
Russell
just by
Crowe
himself.
is
His
so
performance
good.
is great.
He's so good in this film.
He lifts this from being like a mediocre, boring nothing to an actual fun.
Oh yeah,
It was fun. It was
Yeah.
a fun action film.
I guess there's not really much more. I will say that what I would describe it as is the modern day Exorcist, but with more action and Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
Right? That's it.
I think after it finished, I thought it was like the first installment in the Catholic shared universe
Yeah.
or something.
Which is, it's
was
just,
definitely going, and which is funny because Russell Crowe was also at the start of the dark universe that went nowhere.
oh no, really?
Yeah, you remember the Mummy with Tom Cruise?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
I never watched it. Did you ever watch it?
I saw bits of it.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah,
What do you mean bits of it? Why did you watch bits
Dad
of
was
it?
watching it.
So you
He
were
didn't
walking in.
like it.
Yeah.
He thought it was boring. But Russell Crowe plays the Shield character.
Right. Okay.
You know, the guy who brings all the monsters together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So Russell Crowe, I think because of the way I just described it, very niche audience. The people who are gonna kind of enjoy this, is it schlock? I guess
It's
a
like,
fun action film.
It's a good schlocky B movie,
with horror,
but it's just it takes the whole Catholic thing really seriously,
which makes it good.
Yeah, yeah.
But then you're like, well, who's the demographic for?
Mm.
Right? And this is why it's doing so poor, because anyone who's wanting it for actually, I feel like straight horror fans might like it the most. Maybe.
Yeah.
Out of
but
all of
it's-
them.
It's silly though.
It's a little
like
bit silly.
unintentionally, it's kind of silly.
Action fans, it doesn't quite have enough to pull an action fan.
The last third is pretty action packed.
I know, but the first half, it's because it is quite heavy. It takes itself very serious.
It's also a lot of the action. Russell Crowe isn't physically fighting the demons.
which is cool. Though.
He's standing there praying heavily with the other priests.
Hey man, that was cool.
That was really fun.
That
to
was
watch.
cool, man.
Yeah.
And it's just it's a film that you're just who is this for? It's definitely not for the Christian audience.
Is Russell Crowe really religious? Because I just remembered he's in that Noah movie as well.
I was thinking about Noah beforehand. I wanted to bring up Noah.
Also, a weirdly Christian film that wouldn't go down well with Christians.
I feel Noah was definitely aiming more for the Christian crowd.
Right.
This film is aiming more for the Exorcist crowd, which
Yeah.
we know the Exorcist did really well, and I guess it did spawn a few movies, but it's not it's not the Avengers, which is kind of what they were aiming for with this movie. I guess we're going to start going into spoilers at this point. So it's a very niche, very, very niche market that this group was aiming at. And that's also probably why it didn't do so well. People just don't like this movie. They're it's kind of silly, but there is silly aspects. I rather enjoyed it. I thought it was quite good. But we can start doing spoilers now.
It's definitely silly.
Yeah. I guess we'll start off if the start of the film, right? Great start. Great start.
Yeah.
There's this straight away, there's no playing around. The demons and stuff are real.
It
right?
reminded me a lot of Constantine, the
Yes.
Keanu Reeves film.
Yes.
Where it starts off with an exorcism and you're just like, oh yeah, the demons are real.
Demons are real.
This is all real.
Yep.
And it sets up a lot of the rules. You've got Russell Crowe. He's kind of he is a jokey guy,
Yep.
but he's also this serious Italian priest who's doing actual exorcisms.
And it's awesome. They started off, they bring in this, they bring in a pig and they exercise.
And he tricks the demon into jumping into the pig.
That's what
Right?
I like. Dude, the fact that it's following a lot of old school, mythology. I don't know.
yeah. It's
lore.
like the demons hate his jokes.
Yes.
They're
hate
constantly
him.
trying to be ironic and edgy, and he's just laughing about it.
It's such
Yeah.
a good film for that. So straight away, like, he tricks the demon into jumping into a pig, and then he just shoots the demon.
The
shoots
farmer
the pig.
just blows the pig's
Just
head off,
blows its head off.
spraying the other priest with pig blood.
That's the only thing. I was a little pissed off at that other priest.
Really?
The other priest is the one. So then, of course, because you need, for some reason, this... I don't even know why they didn't need this, actually.
What?
They didn't need this bit where they're like, oh, he's kind of like a loose cannon, and the church is
from
bringing
what
him
I
in.
understand, so it's all based on an actual priest, Father Amorth, who was like, he had that role as the Pope's exorcist. And he wrote a bunch of books.
So he wrote the books as well.
I don't know if this is based off a book or if it's just based loosely around some of the stuff he did.
Okay.
But he wrote a bunch of memoirs and stuff. So it is, and I think he is reflected in that. It's like, oh, these young priests just make fun of me and say I'm ruining the image of the church.
Because
That sort of thing.
I didn't
don't
get why
know.
that guy who had called him there saw it all happen. He's the one who's like, yes, he did. He shot the pig. It's like, dude, come on.
Yeah. So there's a young priest, a young American priest who insists everyone speaks English,
Yeah, screw young priests.
right? And he's a cardinal already? I don't know how.
Well, I don't know.
The whole thing
He's
works.
got like the right hand of the Pope. Pope's all cool with him. Sends him off. Oh, this is why I like this bit. I love this movie for this.
What?
The family. Family have to go to this Spanish place. Husband's dead.
Yeah. So the mother and the two kids are the most stereotypical, we're about to be possessed by demons family.
They are so
They're
cliche.
just, they are just, they've got nothing. They've just inherited this spooky old Spanish abbey.
But
They're not
even, like,
Spanish.
the family are cliche though. It's
Yeah,
like,
you got the rebellious daughter. You've got the young kid who witnessed his dad die, who hasn't spoken in a year, and they're both just walking around with their headphones on.
and then at this point, I was worried because I was like, I don't really care about them. I don't want to do too much on them. Guess what? We don't.
Yeah, actually, yeah, the whole rebellious daughter thing barely figures in. Mm-hmm. Actually, that gets jettisoned real fast.
I know. How
The
awesome
kid
is that?
gets possessed almost immediately. There's no downtime or anything. It's all go.
It's all go. Like,
It's kind of different. You remember The Exorcist is like the first, like almost the first half. They're just trying to figure out what's wrong with the girl.
they kill a worker, or a worker gets hurt
Yeah,
so quickly.
right.
Like, they literally like arrive in that night. Something goes boom.
Yeah.
Is there even anything to why the kid gets possessed? I think he just gets possessed.
He witnessed his father's death, which made him
Vulnerable.
vulnerable to
Yeah.
the demon. Yeah.
But I mean, like, I think we just see he's just possessed.
Well, it turns out that the abbey has been built over like
a Vatican
an
secret.
evil hellhole thing.
Yeah, I love that.
Just straight out of the Buffyverse, it's a hole to hell.
Dude, that was a sick hole. That was awesome.
And yeah, I think it passes it off that the Inquisition was due to a friar being taken over by a demon,
Yeah,
possessed.
that was a bit weird.
Yeah, so the demon wants to possess. Well, what we find, he possesses the kid, and the
Yes.
kid immediately calls out for a priest.
Yes. But he
Which-
wants one specific priest, which is Russell
Yeah,
Crowe.
he wants Russell Crowe,
He goes, "Get me Russell Crowe."
basically.
Pretty much.
Basically, what he does.
So Russell Crowe does come along
Yeah,
on his little. Is it Vespa? What is it?
I don't know, some sort of. I think it said it was a Lamborghini or something.
I gotta tell you.
He looks hilarious because he's put on a fair bit of weight to play this priest role, and he is just riding
I'm not sure
around
it's
on
because
this
of the priest
tiny.
role. I'm not sure it's
He's
because of the
just
priest role.
riding around on this tiny bike all over the place. He looks like he's having a blast the entire movie.
What's hilarious as well is the fact that he's like whatever the scooter thing he's on is like white and red.
Yeah,
And like the rest of the backdrop is all like classic horror movie backdrop. Like he's through the woods, it's dark woods. Everything's like grays and blues and dark colors. And then it's just him on his like little white and red freaking scooter going.
which I liked. Like that fit with his character. Like every time he'd
Dude,
turn up,
he's so cool.
there'd be like he turns up and the family's crying and there's blood sprayed on the walls and he just starts cracking jokes.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
He's just making jokes about it.
He's such an awesome like dude coming. He comes in straight away. He's like, "Oh, we're dealing with a demon. We're dealing with like he has this whole thing. He has a bit of a story arc and everything about how like I think it was like a mental illness thing.
Well, one of his things is it's like, yeah, a lot of the people who they're possessed. It's like, it turns out they just need to see a psychiatrist or whatever.
Which is pretty forward thinking for this.
I think it's because it's sort of recent-ish.
Yeah.
And
No,
it's
this
based
film's
on a real
recent.
person, so I'm guessing he did just pass a lot of people off to a psychiatrist.
And then like his whole sin is that there was someone who did need help, but it wasn't a demon, but it was a psychological thing. But he has always been like at the start, like, if it's a psychological thing and not this, then I won't take care of it. But then she does kill herself, and he was like, even though it's not a demon. I guess
that's kind of my fault.
Yeah, even though it's not a demon, I could have helped, which is like, it's interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, and he's also always flashing back to his time during the Second World War.
Yeah.
Where he was a partisan who was fighting the Nazis.
Yes.
Which is interesting. The demons are constantly distracting him with visions of this stuff.
The demons will try and trick you with your own sins.
Yeah.
That's why they're constantly, like, one of the things they do is they'll constantly confess their sins. So it's cool. I honestly love these, like, lore bits that they have in it. Like, he turns up and right from the word go to, you also are, like, wondering, like, how much action can they put in?
Yeah. And the whole way through, you get the classic Exorcist stuff. You know, the little kid gets strapped to the bed.
Oh, yeah. Blood being thrown up everywhere.
It's definitely not as hardcore as The Exorcist, but you know, he grabs his mum's boob and like.
Oh, that was a bit weird. That bit was weird.
Insults her for not breastfeeding him, which was just odd.
That was a really odd take. So, I mean, even The Exorcist kind of has this, which the demons sound kind of funny.
Yeah,
you know, it's kind of funny to hear a demon be like, "Go suck
but
cocks in hell."
I think The Exorcist pulls off the horror aspect, wherein in Pope's Exorcist, it just comes across as kind of silly.
The Pope's Exorcist, it was good about half the time. But then I think in the second half of the film, when the demon was like in him, so he was hearing it a lot, it sounded a lot more funny.
It felt like they were really trying to get the little kid to be scary, but like so much that it was funny. It was like out of a comedy show. It's like he starts writhing around and they like lift up his shirt. He's got hate written across his stomach.
God.
And
that reminded
I don't know,
me,
something about it just made me laugh. Yeah. It was funny.
Suicide Squad.
Yeah, when the Joker's got broken written on his forehead.
That's
it was
exactly what I thought.
That's what the kid
when they
comes
pulled up and
across
just said
as.
hate,
Yeah.
I was like, come on.
Or it's like later on, the demon's writing more stuff on him. It's like, oh, God is not here today and stuff. And he's like running out of room to write on the kid because he's so small.
I also did find it funny that so normally demons will speak Latin.
Yeah.
Okay. But in this film, because it's clearly aimed at like a Western audience, they were like, oh, okay. The people, because they're in Spain, they'll speak Spanish, but the demons will speak English. And they make a point about this.
The demon will only speak in English.
Which is such a weird... Look, it was fine. Yeah. It was funny that they pointed out.
They needed a reason to have most of them speaking English all the time.
Russell Crowe does a good impersonation, though.
Again, his performance was great.
His performance is on point.
Without him, this would be a silly mess.
Oh, yeah. This would be terrible. But, like, even him getting his little Vespa and pulling that giant metal thing off, that was hilarious. Yeah. To me, Russell Crowe, modern day Christopher Lee. That's what he was in that film. It is a B-grade horror film that is very silly and over the top, but he is not phoning it in. He is taking it very seriously. It did remind me
of like some of the old Hammer horror films. Yeah. Like I know you haven't watched like The Devil Rides Out or something. Yeah. Where Lee just comes out and says like the most ridiculous things,
but they're behind it, right? Yeah, and then that makes it so entertaining. Like, and I'm not saying this is not a diss on him. Like, both of those actors are fantastic, and I love the fact that maybe he enjoyed doing this film, and this is what he did it in. Like, it was so good, especially when they were being possessed and things were happening.
But it's like, if you want an example of like the silliness without Crowe, it's like you've got the old priest and the young priest go in to do the whole praying in front of the kid thing. Yeah. Russell Crowe starts doing his prayers and he's taken pretty seriously. The little kid insults the younger priest and just immediately the younger priest just starts strangling the kid.
That was fun.
It was almost, there was no break. The kid just goes, You've got a young woman you like to have sex with. The young priest just immediately just starts strangling the kid.
Dude, when he did that, I was
There's
like, what the
no
hell?
break at all.
Yeah, I thought there'd be more that would hit him, but he just
He
just went for it.
immediately snaps.
Young priest guy was good. Everyone was actually good in this film.
Yeah.
And they had like cool bits where there were demons doing multiple possessions, and like there was like the one with the taking the girl and scarring everywhere. The bed.
Yeah, that was. Oh, I mean, the bed was clearly just two beds that had been like
That was pretty
moved
cool.
apart, and
the
she's fallen in
bed
the middle.
was pretty cool.
Yeah, and eventually they find out that I can't remember. It's like 200 angels were cast out of heaven at some point, and they fell to earth. And this is one of the spots where they fell to earth, and he is.
Yes.
They're dealing with Asmodeus, the king of hell.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that was the only thing. They went a bit heavy on like who they're dealing with straight away.
That's why it felt like there were like lore dumps into a larger Catholic
Yeah.
universe, because it ends with them going, well, this is we know where this guy is, but where's the other 199?
Dude, that's so
Sounds
funny.
like
That was
that's
so
where
funny.
we're heading
But
next.
even before that, it's like you realize when they go down into the hole, they're like, this was the top priest fighter here, and this was the other one here, and you're like,
Yeah.
and this was the reason for Spanish Inquisition, the worst thing in history for this thing, and you're like, okay.
And they're also getting power ups as they go.
Oh, dude,
So
that's so cool.
he's like, oh, this is the ring of the Inquisition. That it was like the Pope used to seal demons and stuff. Oh, and this is his staff. And this is
Dude,
his diary.
okay.
And here's the map to all the places we can go to in the other movies.
And I get it. Why you guys were like, no, don't do this. It would have been cool if he found a sword.
That's the thing. It's not them
It's just-
physically fighting
It's
the
just,
demons.
but they kind of do. It's like one. I think they should have gone more Hollywood on it. It would have been a far funner film if he had pulled out a sword to like punch that invisible demon.
If it had
thing.
been like a Constantine film,
That's
where
what
he
I
was
mean.
physically fighting the
That's
demons.
what I mean. It's so
that
close.
would have been pretty good.
It's so close
Yeah.
to being, and it would have been way cooler too. An old gruff Russell Crowe pulling out like a sword or like the staff and like beating
I guess
to
that's
death
where,
a demon and sending it to hell.
That's where the reality
awesome.
of
but
the
they
books
they do
sort
that.
of like gets in the way, where it's like
No,
he,
that's where
he
they
never
should've-
actually physically fought the demons. He just sort
they
of like
do, though.
he just sort of stands
They
there and
fight the
prays.
demons.
No, but I mean in real life.
They fight him.
In real life, he was just praying at people.
They fight it in the show,
Yeah, in the show.
in the movie. That's why they should have gone. They should have done it. They should have done it.
Yeah.
But they fight back and forth. They find out who his name is, and I think they just kind of. There's a lot of fighting in this, by the way. Like there's a few like they take
Well,
a few
it's
hits. They come
spiritual
backwards.
fighting. They just sort of stand there praying. Or,
But like they have, it's a lot more of this film was like a detective film.
yeah,
Kind of, maybe not a
kind of.
detective film. Sorry, that's taking a little bit far. But like that's why they had to find out the name
like
of the demon.
a lore dump film almost.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, and Russell Crowe is like doing some scavenging, and like he finds some sort of catacomb and delves down into it.
yeah. But and
Constantly, gas fires are going off all the time.
yeah, because it's sulfur. from
Oh
hell.
yeah.
That's why.
Because the gas is coming from hell.
Yeah.
All
but
natural gas comes from hell.
what eventually happens near the end is like the kid's gonna die, and like also it possesses the daughter as well. And then, but who he wants, what it wants to do is possess Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
Because then Russell Crowe can go back, and because he's the right hand of the Pope, then he'll be able to.
So
do-
chaos.
Yeah, he'll be able to do a Spanish Inquisition 2.0.
Yeah, and I think he's also planning to find the other 199 angels. And
Yeah.
dig them up.
Yeah, so what happens is Russell Crowe does let it go into him, but then he fights it with the younger man. Mm-hmm. They go down into the hole where...
They fight naked women.
well, that's where Russell Crowe's like sitting on top of the throne
Yeah.
with the staff and everything, and they do a cool little thing with fire and flames and shit, I think. And then, randomly, two naked women come out. One of them's covered in like mud.
Oh, yeah, it makes sense because both of them have like a guilt thing.
Yeah.
One of Russell Crowe's is, oh, it's that woman he couldn't save.
Okay, yeah, I got that one.
And the other one is the young girl that the other priest had sex with.
Yeah, why was she covered in blood though?
I mean,
I mean, it was hot. Okay, so it was like a really
Hot.
cool scene
Yeah, yeah.
There's this. I think we should have had more naked chicks covered in blood in this film, personally. Because if you're gonna have one, you may as well have like 5 or 6. Okay.
Sure.
But this naked chick covered in blood suddenly comes out and starts strangling one, while the other chick covered in oil or mud or something.
Whatever the waste was. in
Whatever that
hole.
was, fighting Russell Crowe. So they do get in a physical altercation with them, and then he does finish the priest thing, the prayer, whatever it is, and like sets her on fire as he throws her into the water to send her into hell or something.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
It was fun.
Pretty
But again,
cool.
it's like, who would be into this? Like, if you're like an actual Christian who's into the whole exorcism thing,
Well, then...
like the serious stuff, this would just be like a silly B movie.
But we should have wrapped it up at that point, yeah? The film.
No, because you've got to set up for the rest of the universe.
Nah.
You've got to have your post-credit scenes.
You got... Nah.
And that's
so,
why he goes back to the Pope.
This is
and
so
the
dumb.
Pope introduces the Exorcist Initiative to him.
This is the dumbest bit. He walks down. Suddenly they're in like literally like an Avengers Endgame headquarters with everyone like researching and opening papers.
Except they're all priests.
Except they're all priests. And it, like
It's the whole cybermonk thing kicked up to 11.
But weren't they there before? Because he's always been the Pope's
Ah.
exorcist.
Yeah, but he didn't know about them?
I don't get that.
I think it was... Maybe, that doesn't make sense.
But anyway,
Maybe it was... Okay, I mean, you might have found a plot hole, Jared.
yeah, I think
plot
there's
hole.
a few. I think this is the plot hole. Yeah, and then the guy's like, "Hey, by the way, like that's one of the like this map you brought that shows where all the demon holes are, and that's one of them out of 200.
Someone's got to go
so,
close them down.
you know, there's 199. Do you reckon you can do it?" And he's like, "I don't know if I can do it by myself, but with this guy over here," and he's at the young priest, "we could do it together."
Yeah.
And you're just like, 199 films? 199 though? That's ambitious.
I don't know exactly what they would have done for the next one.
It's just ambitious. It's a very ambitious ending. It's a very silly ending. I will say that ending, that little last like 3-minute clip is so stupid.
It's fantastic. That was one of my favorite parts of the whole movie.
Then they finish, but they actually finish with like this thing about the book and the guy who wrote it.
Oh, yeah.
Picture of him. And my favorite, like literally the very last words in this film. And it's talking about the books. And the very last few words are, "The books are good."
Yeah. Go read the books.
No, it just says the books are good.
I know, but...
Just the books. But that's not even like a great review of something.
Yeah, the
like-
books are good.
But
Are they?
it's also like the fact that you just did a movie on it. Or like you did the movie version of that book and you're like, the books are good. I don't know. There's something that gets, and I know other people feel this way too, because I looked up on Letterboxd and a lot of people, like the top one was, the books are good. Like, how can you end your film?
I wonder if they... I didn't bother looking them up.
But
But
what
I
a-
wonder if they are good.
What
I
a
don't know.
silly quote to say at the end. Also, like, it's a fourth wall break.
Yeah.
They're talking directly to the audience now. The books are good. Like, and it's not even a great record. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like, that's an amazing... Like, if you turned into if you had to turn in literature report or whatever to, like, your high school English teacher, and they were like, "Hey, what did you think of this book, you know, of Mice and Men?" And you go, "The book is good," as, like, your style
The book
end.
is good.
And that would be like, yeah, guess what? You just got an F.
Yeah.
Because that's, like, the weakest thing you could start or end on. It's incredible that they end on that. It blew my mind. I was laughing for like a whole minute. I was like, I can't believe they ended on that. The books are good.
The books are good, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the movie. It's not really that bad. I mean, I'm pretty sure we know that didn't do well.
Didn't it?
I'm pretty sure it did.
I imagine it didn't.
I imagine it didn't.
Don't know who would have gone to see this.
Us.
Yeah.
That's it.
If you
Actually, I
like-
wouldn't have gone to see it because we would have been worried that would be boring.
Well, that's the thing. I was really worried that this would be boring. It reminded, but it ended up reminding me more of. I know you said The Exorcist, but it kind of reminded me more of Evil Dead.
Dude,
The
it
Evil
was
Dead
so...
series,
Yeah, I
right?
know, but lacking a little bit
Especially
more action.
A little bit more action, maybe some more effects.
Dude.
Like towards the end, the daughter becomes possessed as well briefly. And she
so-
immediately snaps and like turns into one of those crab walking people.
It was so close to
It's
the
just-
Evil Dead.
yeah.
So close. It had some really like they should have lent into that more. They didn't. That's the thing. They did do that level.
And it fits because
it fits.
because his role as this jokey priest is constantly like making fun of the situation, what's happening. He comes across as like an Ash-like character.
yeah, that's the thing. Though.
Where he's like making light of all this stuff while he's kicking ass and
Since
stuff.
they did do it, why not lean into it? Why not do it?
I think they
more?
were actually trying to be serious about
I
it.
know, but
Which
that
is
was
the
so
problem.
close. Yeah, which
Yeah.
is the problem. That's why it's never going to do well. That's why we're not going to get 199.
Which is a pity.
We're lucky we got one.
I would have gone to see two.
Oh, someone exploded.
Yeah.
What was that? That was a blood chick.
Right at the end, yeah, the blood chick bursts into blood.
That's 2 movies in a row that we've watched with people exploding exactly the same way.
Yeah, we also watched Abigail recently,
Yeah,
which had a lot of vampires popping.
it was fine. I didn't like it.
It was okay.
Yeah, there's our review of Abigail.
I think it was
Look
like
at that, 2 and 1.
Technically a better film than the Pope's
No,
Exorcist.
I actually.
But we enjoyed
I
Pope's Exorcist more.
I much prefer the Pope's
Yeah.
Exorcist. Well, anyway, folks, that is the Pope's Exorcist. Welcome back to End of the Reel. Thank you for listening. Like, subscribe on all the podcasty things, YouTube. You know the deal, homie G.
Yeah.
You know the deal.
See you again in 3 years. Bye.